Well, hello, EKN Nation. Welcome to yet another edition of the Debrief, episode 140, Friday, November 22nd, 2024. This is Rob Howden alongside, of course, David Cole. Our second segment for the Superkarts USA SuperNationals 27 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Las Vegas, Nevada last weekend. Obviously, we had our first show here of the Debrief to wrap up our trackside coverage of the biggest race in the sport. Now we roll on to the final five categories, looking again at what happened all week and, of course, through to Super Sunday. This week's show presented by Parallel USA. Parallel USA is North America's source for Parallel products. The brand is rich in history and success, dating back to the early 1990s throughout Europe. Today, Parallel is among the winningest brands in the USA and around the world. Carters can head to the ParalleLUSA.com website, where the entire chassis line of parts are available to you, with shipping available all across North America within 48 hours. Get on the chassis that's winning. Drive a Parallel. Well, David, this is it, man. We're going to wrap up our coverage that started over essentially a month ago with all of our outlaps, the work we did, all the previews you did. A fantastic week in Las Vegas, the Las Vegas Motor Speedway from November 13th to 17th. But this is it. Final show to wrap up this year's Superkarts USA SuperNationals coverage.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind of a season, and it was a crazy, essentially, month leading up to Vegas and, of course, a wild week outside the Las Vegas Motor Speedway and at the Westgate, enjoying what is the SuperNationals. Again, we keep getting older and we still feel young being at my 19th there, you're 27th. Yeah. And, it's just, it seems like it's a long week, but looking back at it, like, there's so many people you didn't get to talk to or just kind of wave because it's just an influx of people. I mean, you talk about, 550 entries and, over 500 drivers, not to mention all the teams and mechanics and families and spectators that are there watching the event. And it's just, that's the type of event, like we go to the Cup Karts race like that. It's kind of has that same vibe, but there's only one SuperNationals, and, it's gaining more and more attention. It's funny how it's where it's gone. You were there at the beginning to where it is now. It's just unbelievable. It's wild. Yeah,
indeed. And it's funny that, with the morning and afternoon sessions, you talk about the fact that we didn't talk to a lot of people because, I was essentially on the mic and on the broadcast and PA with Kart Chaser at 8:00 in the morning every day. And then we went through to 6:00. There are people that ran the morning, the morning races, the morning sessions. I never saw because they were gone by the time we kind of packed things up and we're heading out of the track. We stopped and talked to a bunch of people on the way at the track, but it was nonstop. That was kind of, for us at least, that characterizes. It was just nonstop all day, every day. You saw some guys when we got back to the Westgate, but even David, even after we went and had dinner the one night straight from the track, we came and went straight to bed. Right? For me, it was wild that I didn't see as many people as I normally do. Yeah, Sunday night we tore it up a little bit, but it was wild.
Yeah, well, that's true, and part of it is the location of where we were. We were out in the middle of the racetrack, where typically we're right next to the grandstands. We're right next to the VIP section, so we do get that interaction while we're actually covering the event with the people who aren't on the racetrack themselves. So. That is one thing I think I kind of missed about it this year was not having that interaction between those there watching the race.
Yeah, I would agree with you. It was a fantastic week all told for those of you who maybe weren't there, maybe listen to our part one of our debrief here. The weather was pretty much sunny throughout the entire event. It was cold in the morning. When we rolled there up there, it was 45 in the morning, 45, 50. I had the long johns on. We had the toques on. We had jackets on. Of course, we poured it off because by the middle of the day when the sun was out, although it wasn't really, high 70s or 80s, it was warm enough with the sun, which is pretty good. Although Friday night made things kind of interesting. And we'll talk about it. Of course, the categories that we'll talk about today, the Pro X30 and the Pro Shifter, had that, that time on Friday night where we had a little bit of rain and it made things kind of exciting. High winds as well.
It's just funny. You throw me off every time you say toque.
Toboggan, winter hat.
Toboggan, isn't that something you ride? That's
well, not they call it. I think did some Googling. I think in North Carolina they call it toboggan a hat. Like,
Can we,
what do you call it? You call it a beanie?
Winter hat, a beanie. Yeah.
See, a beanie's different. Yeah.
It's just so funny too. It's just,
dude, stop being so American.
I know. I am.
Anyway,
again, it's Friday. The weather.
We're punch drunk. It has been a day.
Yeah, I can't wait to sleep 10 hours tomorrow. It's going to be amazing. Or tonight, I should say.
Folks, I will say this. I try to be a good boss. Of course, David has been with me for 20 years, so it can't be all that bad. But these SuperNationals, like I said before, yesterday's show, normally the SuperNationals would be right before Thanksgiving. So we would come home, fly home Friday, fly home Monday morning. We'd bang out these debriefs on Tuesday and Wednesday. And David, you'd be done Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You'd be in full Thanksgiving mode on the couch or whatever, just getting a chance to kind of unwind, right? Decompress. But man, we've been full at it. I'm in the middle of a move right now too, which is just perfect timing. But we've been nonstop. And so I feel you, dude. You're going to, if your kids bother you tomorrow morning, I will drive down there and beat them myself.
Yeah. No, I think they're in for sleeping in too as well. Good. Because they love sleep. So it'll be a good thing. And they know not to bother me, so it's good.
Good. As long as that's a set plan, you'll be all right for this.
Yeah, weekend. But it was typical Vegas weather where it was cold in the morning, warmed up, and then got cold at night. It was that Friday night that heavy winds came rolling through, made it a lot colder, and then rain. And it was the first time we had rain at the SuperNationals since 2019. I did confirm that. It was that was the year we were at the Rio and it rained on practice days, but by the time we got into racing, it finally went away.
I mentioned high winds. It's something, David, we didn't mention yesterday because high winds not only we were worried about the paddock on that Friday night because obviously the wind's coming through potentially damaging some tents. We didn't talk about the fact that the wind really did play a big role actually in the racing itself because there was significant wind, pretty stiff wind throughout the week during the racing. And it changed. At one point, it was at the tail. It was a tailwind coming down the straightaway, and then was in their face going to turn number 4. Actually, I think before it was actually in their face first, and then was tailwind. So literally, the draft it amplified the draft coming down the long 850-foot front straightaway, Dave. Because man, the draft was massive. You got in there, even if you were 5, 6, 7 cart lengths out, everybody else was coming using that draft.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was the change in direction because, as you said, one day it was going in this direction, the other day it was going the other direction. Exactly. So it did change that up for gearing for a lot of the categories. So, but yeah, I mean that's the problem of being in the middle of the desert like we were.
Yeah. All right, so let's jump into by the numbers, guys. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. We actually kind of locked it down. Third biggest ever SuperNationals at 550 entries. But David, you actually went back and looked in terms of average class size. It was the biggest, right? You said that because there were only 9 classes. It was 12. Was it 12 classes when it was the biggest? The year that the 2 road tax classes came in.
It was 12 classes in 2013 with the biggest total of entries, which was 602. And so the 586 that we did have in 2022 was the second largest. So this makes it the third largest at 550. Well, the 2022 year, we had 10 categories. So that's an average of 58.6. You go back to 2013, that's an average with 12 categories, an average of 50.1. This was the only event where you have 9 classes, 550 entries. So you get a 61 average.
That's awesome.
So it's, when you look at it that way, it was probably one of the largest. And again, it had the opportunity to be even larger with, as I said, with, Pro X30 and Pro Shifter only in the 60s where they were opened up to get up to 88. So, there's a good 40 entries right there that we could add to it, which would make this the second highest or even the biggest ever at one of these years. I think we can get with just 9 categories. We could probably get over that 600 mark.
Yeah. So the last 3 years, folks, over 520. So it was 586 in 2022, 520 in 2023, and 550 this past year. 52 drivers in the KA100 Master category. As I said, and I have always said, SCUSA always they go past the 44 the 44 full grid, knowing there's going to be some cancellations. I don't know that there was any cancellations in KA100 Master. They had the extra guys on there. They ran all 52. And for me, as a Masters guy, David, yourself, Mike Smith, and I were talking about it in the Card Chaser broadcast. That's our class, right? That's the class I ran in 2022. Masters is my thing. To have 52 of those guys out there, that I just think was unbelievably cool.
Well, they went with 51, and I never got an official ruling on this, but Laurentiu Mardan entered Thursday morning. And so when we went to qualifying, I'm going to double check this. It says 52 drivers on the list. So there's a Brian Bull. Yeah, he was there. He was racing. So 52 drivers. So. Yep. So they let Mardan in. I'm not quite sure how they did that, but they did, and that ended up being a wild story, as we'll get into that class.
No doubt. Mini Swift 47, X30 Junior at 46, a couple up from last year. Again, Pro X30 69 entries, not the 80, 87 that we had a couple of years ago, but still a good group of Pro X30s. And again, you go back to 2019 when there was 23 drivers in Pro Shifter, 50 in 2021. Not quite the 73 we had a couple years ago, but David, Gearbox Racing is back, especially at the SuperNationals. 68 entries in the Pro Shifter class.
Yeah, pretty wild to see that. I was hoping we'd get in the 70 number again, but just a couple short on that. But it helps being on the same platform as the world.
Yep.
Because that's when we were bringing in the bigger numbers. You look back to 2007 when we started getting the factory pilots coming over, and it, not just those drivers, but the KZ2 guys, the drivers who are trying to make a name for themselves. They come over here and try and do that as well. No different than what we see in the professional ranks as well too. So it's just it helps to be on a level platform, not doing something that's different and unique to the United States alone. It did work in the past, but back then I think we had a lot more shifter kart drivers in the country, especially in the Masters division that we covered yesterday. That's where we had a lot of drivers here in the USA. Now more so, it's becoming more international as we're seeing the FIA introduced the KZ2 Masters division. And that, I think that a lot of that is based on, they see the success here in the United States with Masters racing. They added it to the Rotax Grand Finals eventually. And now FIA is looking at it. Hey, we have a lot of talented drivers, 30 years and older, that are just sitting there doing nothing. How can we cash in on this? Not only cash in on this, but continue their legacy. Continue their like you look at Davide Fore. This guy's a 6-time world champion, then adds another with the KZ2 Masters title. And it's just, Anthony Abbas, a 2-time SuperNationals winner. Yeah. Hopefully we'll be able to get him coming back to the SuperNationals as well too, because it's just names like that. That's just phenomenal. But the Pro X30, it's going to be a struggle, I think, to get back into the 80s for that, because we have so many of those kids, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, who are looking at cars and or have already moved to cars. It's tough to get them back. So those drivers who do come race here are already committed to the season. They're racing karts. They're committed to karts. That's going to be the tough one to kind of see grow. We might see a decline in it. That's the crazy part about it too, is because there's such a focus on that progression in motorsports.
That's it. Well, folks, we are underway with this edition of the Debrief, episode 140. Again, today's show brought to you by Payroll in USA. Time for the first quick break. We get back, we'll dive into the Paddock Pass. Fast, fair, and fun. Ignite Karting offers you all of that at an affordable price. Ignite Karting utilizes the spec Margay Ignite K3 with a sealed Briggs & Stratton 206 engine and a Hoosier R80 tire. Everyone in the rookie, junior, senior, heavy, and masters classes compete on the same Ignite K3 chassis, which puts all the emphasis squarely on driver development. Additionally, Ignite Karting is accessible at the local, regional, and national level. Special events for the 2024 season include the Ignite Majors, which began with the annual trip to the Daytona International Speedway in December as part of the WKA Daytona Kart Week as part of both the sprint and road race events. Those in the Midwest can enjoy the regionally based Ignite Challenge, which features 12 races at 6 iconic facilities. Local club programs have also been established in other states all across the country, from Idaho to Texas, Nebraska to New York, with more tracks and clubs joining the Ignite karting program every year. Be part of fast, fun, and great memories with Margay Racing at an Ignite track near you. All information on Ignite events and Ignite kart packages, including dealers in your area, are available at ignitekarting.com. Get off the couch and onto the track this year. Ignite Karting. Fuel your passion. History, success, family. Those are the three words that can describe Comet Kart Sales, one of the longest tenured karting businesses in the United States. The family-owned operation located just outside of Indianapolis has provided karts, parts, and services for thousands of racers in the near 6 decades of business. Their online store features everything you need, continually adding new parts to their product line. From full karting packages, new engines, spare or replacement parts, and safety gear, find it all at CometKartSales.com. Their Comet Racing Engine service has won multiple major events and championships over decades of karting and continues to offer the best trackside service in the industry, specializing in IAME X30, IAME Swift, and other 2-cycle power plants. Make sure to head to CometKartSales.com or call them at 317-462-3413 to be part of the Comet Kart Sales family today. Back at it with episode number 140 for EKN Debrief. Rob Howden alongside David Cole to cap off our coverage of this year's Superkarts USA SuperNationals. Again, a long week. Shout out to our entire crew, Mattia and Nate. Obviously, Nate was busting his tail for the last month. He was out there. David, I know you made a post on our social media. The guys really knocked things out this weekend, didn't they?
Yeah, they certainly did. Yeah, a lot of not to mention all the photographers that were there. We've been working with On Track Promotions, Cody Schindel as well too. But Mattia and Nate putting together all our actual coverage and graphics and this and that. So a lot of work aside from what I did that they did, and it was again gives you a feel of the SuperNationals without being there.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever had that good of a kind of a sideline coverage as well. All the graphics, all the images that we had, the video, Nate's reels. It was just and Mattia, of course, coming on with us for the first time, did a tremendous job. It was a lot of great feedback as we spent the week down in Las Vegas. Let's jump now into the Paddock Pass presented by the Rawlson Performance Group. At the Rawlson Performance Group, we strive for ultimate success. We're more than just a ride and drive race team with countless wins at the national and regional level. Our focus is on complete driver development, and that's where the success is fueled. We combine one-on-one coaching, on-track instruction, and intensive data debriefing with unparalleled kart and engine prep. Our program will help you raise your game. We'll take you to the next level. If that's your goal, RPG needs to be your next move. Experience the Rawlson difference. All right, David, let's jump into the Paddock Pass. We essentially did these yesterday, so those of you who listened to the podcast, our first one, the podcast number 1, we already rolled through these. But, David, let's talk about the fact that we were literally on the strip again, Las Vegas Boulevard, maybe a little further away from where the Formula One track is. But we were on Las Vegas Boulevard.
Yeah, we'll just roll through these pretty quickly as it's a repeat. It's funny. We turned around and I looked. I'm like, oh, we are on the Las Vegas Boulevard because we forget that it goes that far north. And so this was the third time. 2017, the first at the Las Vegas Convention Center. We were right on the strip with the parking lot that was there and no longer there anymore. And then we were here in 2021 at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway and then back again in the same spot. So very cool to kind of say that and be actually on the strip. And again, the 3/4 mile racetrack was certainly getting high praises for what it was and what it became. And there was a big focal point heading into the event for sure.
Yeah, it was ended up being a fantastic track again. Back-to-back years with really good racing, a little higher speed. The shifter guys liked that they didn't have to go down to any first geared corners. The racing was amazing with a lot of great passing opportunities. One note that we had, Dave, that I know that you picked up in the Paddock Insider was kind of a late news bit. The fact that Giuseppe Palumba, the world champion, KZ world champion, was not able to make it here, scratched from Pro Shifter. But of course, Sodikart did a pretty good job bringing in some guy named Emilian Denner as a super sub.
Yeah, that was not just a story on Tuesday and Wednesday. That was a story all week as we followed the progression of Denner. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in that Pro Shifter report.
One of the big things in the paddock, of course, was the fact that the homologation coming up for both bodywork and chassis. We saw a bunch of different bodywork. There's a couple little updates on some carts, but the bodywork was the big thing, David. Everybody coming at CRG, Barrel, OTK, all with some new bodywork.
Yeah, OTK for sure has their own. The fairing was the big focal point that everybody talked about on social media heading into it. And this is the first time a lot of us got to see it in firsthand, now making its way to the U.S. So, it was a unique, and it doesn't look as bulky as what it does in the pictures online. So definitely a cooler look to it. And then the other is the KG bodywork that both Burrell Art and CRG and other manufacturers are going to be utilizing, kind of like a shark gill that on the fairing.
It's almost like louvers, right?
I don't even know what that is, Rob.
Oh, you are young. I forgot. Wow, I just aged myself massively.
You did. So for the non-senior citizens out here, what is that?
Oh my God! It's what you listen. Google it.
Wow! You're not even gonna tell me.
It's a set. I think they used to have like on the back of cars where it was like you could see out the back. But the sun didn't come down on top of it.
Hold on. It's very similar. Remember the Audis had this over the wheel well.
To a certain extent, yeah.
Yeah, to a certain extent. So I'm kind of bringing it back to newer generation type style things. So,
needless to say, some cool bodywork designs.
They are. The unique part about the new KG stuff, though, is the aside from the fairing part, is the cutouts at the end of the noses. So that's very interesting look to it. People are gonna get online and bark and debate about, this is way better aerodynamically and stuff like that. Lap times are not going to drastically drop. I can tell you that.
Yeah, they're working with airflow, potentially cooling the brakes, cooling tires, whatever it may be. But anyways, bottom line was we saw some new homologation material, which is good. Again, always new chassis coming, new bodywork, as we said. David, another thing here for the Paddock Insider. Of course, you celebrating your 20th year with ekartingnews.com. Congratulations on that. Love that stuff. But CompKart as well, half your deal. But CompKart's been around for 10 years. The whole J3 competition, CompKart crew celebrating 10th anniversary for the CompKart brand.
Yeah, 10 years for the brand. I was just going to look. I remember one name, but I want to see if you can do a little trivia for them. Who were the drivers in 2014 at the SuperNationals for CompKart? There's one that you know really well.
The one that I know really well? Wow.
Yeah, was a junior guy.
I'm going to say probably David Malukas.
Close. Yeah. He might have been at this. I don't think he ran the Super Nats. Remember we ran the Miami International final on the CompKart. So you're close.
Right.
You're close.
Yeah.
This
2014.
2014.
What class?
Tag Junior.
I don't know. Tell me.
Braden Eves.
Oh, really?
Yes, Braden Eves was one of the drivers. Alessandro Brizan was a shifter kart driver. Yep.
Yeah. That's awesome, dude.
So,
good.
Yeah, unique to see that. And again, the brand's gone a long way. Worldwide recognition, worldwide success as well too. And amazing what they've done at J3 to continue this brand, and will continue this brand moving forward. They have Oliver Hodgson behind it here in the United States, working with their CompKart school or university, I believe they call it. I can't remember exactly the terminology. But yeah, just again, it's cool to see how far that brand has come.
Dave, let's cap off this segment here of the Paddock Pass, brought to you by Rawlson Performance Group, but with the fact that there was a lot of different companies that were kind of showing their wares within the paddock area as there is every year. One of the ones that caught our eye was K1 race gear and Freem. They were trackside with a big booth right behind the grandstands, right beside the VIP, and we had a chance to sit down and chat with them. We've got some more insight into the development between K1 and Freem. It was good to see them there.
Yeah, they're all in on karting, that's for sure. Whether it be, with the K1 race gear, they're kind of focused in on the rental side of things and branching out in the motorsports or the competition side of things. We know Freem is big into in motorsports as well too, and so the combination of that certainly going to be interesting moving forward.
Yeah, that was the suit that I got done for myself when I raced in 2022, and man, I love that suit. It's just it's super high quality, and you're going to hear a lot from Freem over the next little while. All right, we're going to jump into our next break. Time to get into the race report. 5 categories are set to roll. We'll start things off with KA 100 Master after this break. What brand is known around the world for its innovation and success? It is SuperKart. The Sodi brand returned in full force during the 2023 season thanks to the new exclusive importer, the Karting Distribution, led by industry veteran Terry Germanovich. The French manufacturer SuperKart is a leader within the karting industry, offering a wide range of products and services. The Sodi Racing chassis line offers product in classes from mini karts to KZ, all based on years of development and championship seasons around the world. Sodi Racing USA has expanded its dealer network over the last year, bringing the Sodi brand to several local clubs and regional programs. The Sodi Racing USA by PK Sports is the official race team, producing many victories in different levels across the board. And the new Pro Race Academy is designed to cater to the next generation of motor racing, helping boys and girls aiming to make their mark. Visit Sodi-Racing-USA.com to learn more about Sodi kart chassis or call 954-634-5111 to become part of the Sodi Racing USA network today. Sodi Kart, the world leader in the karting industry. Cometic Gasket is a leading worldwide supplier of gaskets and engine sealing solutions for karting, automotive performance, power sports, original equipment, and the remanufactured engine industries. Cometic karting gaskets are available as OE replacement top-end kits or as individual gaskets and seals. Just like competitive karters, Cometic can operate on the fly and has the unique capability to customize any gasket to meet specific engine requirements and clearances. All of Cometic's fiber materials are asbestos-free and do not require any additional sealants. Viton oil ring cylinder head seals are used in each 2-cycle kit, and Cometic's 4-cycle engine kits feature only the most advanced multi-layer steel head gaskets. Cometic can tailor to engine builder-specific needs through bulk ordering and packaging flexibility. Cometic gaskets are must-haves for championship-winning teams across multiple disciplines of both professional and amateur motorsports. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989. Welcome back to this edition of the EKN Debrief, episode number 140. Time to jump into the race report here. Today's race report brought to you by Stilo USA. As a world leader in personal safety products, Simpson Performance Products is now the official North American distributor for Stilo helmets. In addition to their popular auto racing helmets, Stilo is excited to have made their move into karting. Stilo has 3 helmets designed and manufactured specifically for karting: the ST5 CMR and the ST5 KRT helmets, including the new ST5 CMR Carbon. Complete your safety gear with the Stilo Carbon Curva rib and chest protector. For more information, check them out online at stilohelmets.com or by following them on social media at Stilo USA. Super easy for me to lay that one out, David, because I'm a Stilo guy. Their Carbon Curva rib protector. We're old. At least I'm old. I never have any issues. I'm telling you, I love that Carbon Curva. It's amazing. Yeah,
I've wore it just to see how it feels. I think it will work out. I definitely, if I'm going to move up into the KA Master category that we're going to talk about here in a minute, that might be the ticket for me.
So you thinking you're going to race next year, Dave?
We're gonna.
People want Dave to race the SuperNationals.
We're gonna put a pull out together. You keep claiming that you need to do it again, and I'm like, well, you've done it.
Wow.
You're more of a one and done kind of guy.
I just got to figure out how to pay for it.
You're more of a one and done kind of guy.
How am I a one and done kind of guy? I did 27 SuperNationals.
Don't ruin the one performance you had there where you came home, you made the checkered flag.
No, I think I can win.
Oh my God. This isn't Supermaster, all right?
KA 100 Masters. Here's the headline. Here's the headline. Cooper wins in amazing battle.
Man, I didn't realize it was a sweep
Yeah.
for Ben Cooper.
Yep.
Because it didn't feel that way when we got to. Certainly Thursday, Friday, Saturday was Ben Cooper as he set fast time in qualifying at 53.065, which just edged out William Isaias by 70 thousandths of a second. A close one in qualifying. Nicky Coelho third, the USPKS champion there. Kip Foster, four-time winner at the SuperNationals, and fourth, and then Jacob Neary in the Fast Five. But as I said, Cooper dominated. Not necessarily dominated, but paced the field throughout the heat races, winning all three.
Yep.
Ahead of Kip Foster, who moved up into the second spot in all three races. It was Nicky Coelho in third on heat one, Isaias third in heat two, and then last year's winner, Matthew Waters, who qualified seventh, up into the third spot in the final heat race. So kind of showed a different number of different drivers who could have been in contention, certainly going into Sunday. But again, Cooper on the pole position, Foster on the outside. Coelho started.
Let's just think through the heat races. Excuse me. It was very apparent that it was Cooper versus Foster, at least for me. Now, Cooper was out front, was able to handle it. Kip Foster arrived running the Aero back on the Drew Price Engineering Aero chassis and was an absolute beast all weekend long. Those two drivers, I know there were other drivers I kind of expected to be in the fight. Waters, Martin Stone. I picked, again, to the top five Renato Jodar Davy. But, man, those two guys, Cooper and Foster, I know you're going to get into the grid and, of course, the main. But, man, those two guys, they were the class of the field throughout the heat races on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, and Foster looked like he would look better than he did last year.
Yeah.
At least through the heat races, it seemed like, he was going to be there to compete, because, again, you're looking at Masters guys. You're kind of wondering, okay, when is that line of I'm not going to compete anymore, but he's on it. Like the guy's on it, racing senior categories all season back home in Australia. So it was pretty wild you kind of figured that going in with Cooper and Foster being on the front row. It was a matter of what was going to happen behind him. And we had Nicky Coelho starting third, Bruno Spengler, the international sports car driver, making his first SuperNational start. He qualified sixth and worked his way up to fourth on the starting grid, with Isaias starting in the fifth spot. And that was the key part of it, is getting through the opening lap. Unfortunately, Coelho and Isaias got together going through turn six, putting them, I think it was Isaias driving over top of Coelho at the apex and then pushing out to the wall, essentially kind of blocking the racetrack a little bit. So that kind of opened the door up for Cooper and Foster to kind of break away early, and they certainly did that. As we saw in the heat races, they were the fast two guys there. And so if you weren't able to get with them early, it was going to be a very hard deal to come back and try and challenge for a victory. And we certainly saw that. But the unique part about the main event was Cooper and Foster went back and forth.
They did.
It was a great boxing match, more of a chess match, not a boxing match, because they weren't aggressive. They just kind of were trying to outsmart one another and figure out, I'm better than you here. No, I'm better than you there. And it looked like Foster, to me, was quicker in the straight line, and while Cooper was maybe an inch better through some of the more technical parts of the racetrack. Would you agree, Rob?
David, when I talked about, I must throw this in here because you're chatting. When I talked to Ben afterwards, he goes, "Rob, I had the biggest smile on my face through that entire race." He goes, "That's almost the most fun I've had racing before." Because they just went back at each other. Like, again, they had the show of sportsmanship coming across the line after the victory. But, man, Cooper just said, he was like, I could not stop smiling. I was loving the battle we had out there.
Yeah, it was a clean race. Like, that's something that you want to see. It was, like I said, it was a chess match.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I'm going to push you off here, I'm going to push you off there, because they changed the position multiple times over the 20 laps. Like, I think there's 5 official lead changes, but there were probably more than 10 passes throughout the race, if not more. And so that kind of defined that race. How to put in a clean 20 lap race.
Agreed.
The crazy part about it is towards the end, that second group that included Martin Stone, Matthew Waters, and then later Renato Yader-David and Lourenço Martin coming up as well too. If it was a 25 lap race, they might have had a little something to say, but in the end, it ended up coming to the white flag. Foster tried a surprise move at turn 15 because it was there, but it wasn't there because I happened to be just standing right there. There was room. He just didn't quite get to the apex quick enough and so Cooper kind of gave him room, but Foster hit kind of the inside of the barrier a little bit, and then Cooper barely made it through the exit without hitting the wall on the exit. So it was a great move, great surprise move, because that's what Foster said after the race. He's like, I had to catch him off guard because he's too good. He's going to know when I'm going to make my move. And that was it. Unfortunately, it failed for Foster. Cooper was able to keep the momentum up going, and Foster was unable to return the favor on the final lap, as Cooper, as you said, crossed the line 1.1 seconds ahead, or just over a second ahead of Foster at the line. Again, giving praise to Foster as they crossed the line. Unfortunately for Foster, it was a jump start penalty that took him off the podium. And you look back at the footage, Rob, it was a pretty good jump start. He was ahead of Cooper when the green flag waved. That's obviously what they're looking for. Cooper, he did it all weekend. Loved the slow starts. Came into the starting area super slow, and it could have
almost been too slow. Let's be real.
Yeah, there was people bitching about that for sure. But again, he's the pole setter. He sets the pace.
Somebody sent me a message in the rule book. I think it's 20 miles an hour.
Yes. Gary Osterholt, will call him out because he sent me the same message. Yeah. It says 20 miles an hour. Well, unless they have an actual mile per hour radar display gun, like they used to at other programs where. That was the greatest thing. John Crow said, I hate this because I have to look at how fast I'm going. I have to look at the tram line. I have to look at the flag for when he waves it. And then I have to look at the guy next to me to try and outwit him. It's stupid. Yeah, so anyway, Cooper crosses the line first, earns his third victory at the SuperNationals, first in this category. So he has a DD2, an X30 senior, and a KA master victory, all at the SuperNationals. Unreal. But unfortunately for Foster, the jump start penalty dropped him all the way back to seventh with that second group coming back in. So it took away a great podium, what should have been a great podium finish for him.
Yeah, moves Matthew Waters up into second, Martin Stone in third. So in the end, it's Rawlson Performance Group 1, 2, 3. They dominate first, second, and third with the penalty to Foster. Renato Yader-David came from deeper in the field, worked his way up to fifth on the racetrack, ended up getting fourth in the final tally, obviously with the Foster penalty. And Lourenço Martin, what a story that was. Of course, essentially sat and waited at registration for them to allow him to come in, allow him to race. He doesn't hit the track at all on Wednesday. So literally, when we talk about your experience at the SuperNats, don't miss a lap. Whatever you don't miss a lap. Well, Martin missed probably 40 or 50 laps.
28 minutes of on track action.
Exactly that, man. It's crazy. So he ends up not being able to, obviously doesn't practice at all, rolls out on Thursday and just goes forward from there and ends up finishing in the fifth position. So awesome run for Lourenço.
Yeah, qualified, I think, ninth, was it?
I
was going to go back, but I mean, he's a former USBKS champion, just went to the Rotex Grand Finals for Team USA.
He's a beast. Come on.
He gets qualified ninth. So just that's amazing because the people like he out-qualified Renato Yader-David, Scott Falcone, Travis Irving. Irving was double duty. He was racing shifter and KA master. So to just go in there, like he obviously had things where it needed to be when it rolled off the trailer.
Yeah, ended up finishing fifth overall. Hard charger went to Mingyan Zhu, up 21 spots, started 51st, essentially the very, very tail of the field, drove his way up to 30th, so good run for him on the Cosmic. As we'll do throughout the categories, we talk about our predictions that we made in our Outlap podcast. When it's all said and done, you're going to see that David smoked us, but David, you and I were super close in this one here. This is one of the ones I thought I did really well on. Obviously, you were just as good as I was. Roll out how things went with the predictions.
Yeah, the Foster jump start screwed us both. Really screwed you.
Yeah.
Because if Foster would have been on the podium, you would have had 5 drivers in the top 5. So that I have to give you praise for that, because trackside, that's all you could yell and scream about.
And did I not say Cooper, Foster? I had Mardan in 5th spot too. I would have had him in the right spot.
No. You had Cooper, Foster, Stone, Renato Yader, David. So
I would have
as they finished, you had Renato Yader, David top in the 5th spot. He finished 5th on track. Man. Stone finished 4th on track. So you had that. Water. So the only thing you had was Waters and Foster flip flop. So this would have been a massive score for you had it not been a jump start. So make sure you remind Kip Foster that of next year.
Thanks for nothing, Kipper.
Yes. So unfortunately for you, I did get the top 3 correct. I had Ben Cooper, Waters, and Stone as they were officially resulted. Coelho and Kip Foster were the rest of my top 5, so didn't make that.
Whatever.
So yeah, that was that. So yeah, I only had 3 in the top 5. You had 4 in the top 5. Nate had 2 in the top 5, but he did correctly select Martin Stone in 3rd. So he did his Max Pappas win call did not work out. Neither did the Jamie Siraki top 5 finish.
Yeah, he tried to roll it, but I talked to Siraki, but he got caught up in one of the incidents early on. So, anyways, there you go, folks. Ben Cooper, big victory in the KA 100 Masters class. Shout out to Rolls Performance Group going 1, 2, 3. That's big for them as well. After the break, when we get back, and this race report brought to you by Stilo USA, we'll dive in to Mini Swift. In racing, experience is priceless. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry, and with over 30 years of combined karting experience, we can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. Check out our online store at franklinkart.com, where all of our products are just a mouse click away. We continue to add to our growing product selection on the online store, and we ship daily to ensure products get to you quickly. We specialize in IAME engines, tilt seats, the Ceramic product line, Driveline branded products, Briggs & Stratton engines, Smoker performance sprockets, OTK products, AIM, MG tires, and of course, the championship-winning Merlin chassis. In our online store, you'll find a variety of items to fill your karting needs. Franklin Motorsports is also known for our wide variety of services and is home to Innovative Engine Works by FMS, our in-house engine service department. Frame straightening, kart prep, and dyno testing are all services offered regularly at Franklin Motorsports. Be sure to stop by the Franklin trailer during the United States Pro Kart Series events as the official trackside vendor. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com. CRG is one of the most iconic brands in karting, and we're primed and ready for the 2022 season with new material and a never-ending focus on winning. CRG Nordam is the North American distributor for all CRG products. Based outside of Houston, Texas, CRG Nordam supports CRG dealers across the continent, reaching every corner of North America. The CRG KT5 is our new chassis for tag and shifter racing, and it's been designed specifically for the U.S. market. The KT5 features 30mm construction with a 32mm front loop to increase front grip. CRG's new VEN 13 brake system is cutting-edge technology with a master cylinder that allows for pressure regulation within the system. Drivers can customize brake pressure to their own requirements to improve feel and to avoid brake lockup. The kart is finished with new KG 507, 508 bodywork that has refined aerodynamics and reduced weight. For cadet drivers, the 2022 CRG Black Mirror is already logging positive results to start the new season. This chassis will be making big waves in 2022. Longtime CRG drivers will be happy to know that the CRG Road Rebel, the standard in quality and performance, is still available. With Force Cycle Racing enjoying consistent growth in North America, CRG's FS4 chassis is the ideal choice for racers in Briggs & Stratton competition. From pure racing to karting entertainment, many tracks, both indoor and outdoor, have made the switch to the CRG Centurion rental kart line. 5 different models for both gas-powered or electric engines can fit any track's needs for a new rental kart fleet. CRG Nordam has a full inventory of rental karts available for new and existing facilities. For more information on the CRG product line, head to www.kartcrg.com, and to inquire about a North American dealer near you, please email us at info@kartcrg-nordam.com. Welcome back to episode 140 of the EKN Debrief Show as we wrap up our coverage for this year's Superkarts USA SuperNationals 27 at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Rolling through the Stilo USA Race Report, let's dive in to Mini Swift now. And here's the headline. Last lap passed earns Fernandez first Supernationals victory.
Yeah, this was a category was pretty fun to watch because there was a lot of drivers that were in the mix all week long. All racing together in the heat races because, again, we only had the 47 drivers that were competing in the category. So no split heat races. So everybody had to race everybody. And that was a crucial part of it going into after qualifying, which we did see Mini Swift rookie Parker Ives take the top spot with a 55.103, able to edge out Benja Fernandez by 28 thousandths. We actually had the top three within 82 thousandths with Liam Nakawati in the third spot. Recent USPKS winner Nico Katowski in the fourth spot. He was getting coached all week by Mr. Kart Class himself, David Serra, a former runner-up at the Supernationals. I will keep saying runner-up.
Poor David.
And then, hey, yeah, you got to do what you got to do. And then Troy Ferguson rounding out the Fast Five on Thursday during qualifying. So, again, a lot of drivers outside the top five that we thought were going to be in the mix, and they certainly were as the week moved along. Excuse me, Fernandez actually ended up winning the opening heat race from that second spot, with Royce Vega coming up from the 12th spot to finish second, with Parker Ives dropping back to third. So a lot of racing going on, even in the second heat, where we saw Ashton Woon, a SCUSA Pro Tour champion, come up from the 7th spot to score the heat race win, bringing with him Troy Ferguson and then Josh Bergman, who qualified in the 8th spot. So again, a lot of movement. Heat race number 3, however, Parker Ives was able to hold that top spot, going on to score the win ahead of Nakawati and Josh Bergman coming up again from the 8th spot. So again, a lot of movement over the 3 heat races for this category, because again, everybody wants to lead. So that was one thing I kind of noticed about this category.
Right.
The grid ended up being with Ives on the front row with his race results. Ashton Woon starting on the outside of the front row. Fernandez and Bergman in row 2, setting the stage for what was going to be another wild main event. Woon jumped out to lead and led a majority of the race as they kind of fought for second behind him for much of the race. So it kind of looked like Woon was kind of making sure he was going to be the guy leading the way. But then towards the end of the race is when they kind of went on attack. A number of drivers were trying to get after the lead and trying to be the leader, including Josh Bergman, who took the lead late and was leading on the last lap when they went into turn 1. This is a crazy scenario. So Bergman's kind of running a middle line. Fernandez or Woon was able to get to the inside as Fernandez went around on the outside. So 3 wide into turn 1, and Bergman kind of, I don't know, Rob, if he kind of checked up or they just kind of had a better run. So he's like, all right, I'll slot into third and kind of see what happens. Yeah. So Fernandez and Bergman, or Fernandez and Woon, kind of went into so Fernandez, I think, came out with the lead through turn 1. They go into turn 4, and Bergman fought back for the second spot, and that was against Woon. And so that kind of allowed Fernandez the gap he needed to get away, because he wasn't challenged after that. So he was able to go off to the checkered flag unchallenged, winning by over a half a second Some contact messed up or adjusted the top 5 as we saw Bergman and Ferguson get together and turn 15 coming to the checkered flag. So put them into the wall and shuffled up the top 5. That saw Ashton Woon finishing second, Valentino Santillan in third, Maxwell Macha up to fourth, and Marco Samet in the 5th position.
Yeah, a wild finish for sure. No doubt about that. Benja Fernandez, though, coming away with that big victory, as you had said, able to get away on the last lap. And we see that a lot in the SuperNats when somebody's in the lead and the battle starts happening for a second. You end up walking away with it. So Benja Fernandez, congratulations. Big win there for him. Hard charger was Nicholas Ardelian on the Bennett, up 15 spots. Started all the way back in 47th, but was able to get up to 32nd at the checkered flag. Obviously, David, the Bergman-Ferguson contact on the final lap really messed with our predictions as well. I think both you and I had him in the top 5 and ended up kind of shaking things up. And actually, you and Nate were able to come away with 3 points on this one. I only got 1.
Yeah, Nate had 3 drivers in the top 5, so he actually got the win in this category. He had Woon, he had Santillan, which was not in either of our picks, and Samet. So 3 drivers in the top 5, obviously not in the same position that he put them. He had Samet, Vega, Woon, Bergman, and Santillan. So he was looking pretty good. Vega was in that mix for a while. He actually had a bad heat race, so had to start back in 18th, ended up finishing in 10th. So the defending winner. So we had another first-time winner in this category as well, too. So that's another note for this category. I had Woon and Samet. I did pick Samet to finish 5th, so that's where I got an extra bonus point to even up with Nate. And you only had 1 in the top 5 with Woon, as you had Woon, Vega, Ives, Ferguson, and Bergman.
Yeah, I had the guys in the fight.
You definitely did, yeah.
Ives was there, Bergman was there, Ferguson was there. Just didn't come out that way for me. All right, into our next break. When we come back, if this Stilo USA race report, we'll have a look at X30 Junior. Motor mounts. They keep your engine attached to your chassis, right? The answer is they're much more important than that. Your motor mount is critical in transferring 100% of the power from your engine through to your tires and the racetrack. You need this to get on the podium each and every time you race. Odenthal Racing Products is here for you, providing the best motor mounts on the karting market today, all designed to make sure you're using all the horsepower you pay for. Odenthal Racing Products is a family-owned and operated business with decades of karting experience in providing products with unmatched quality and value for our racing community. The Pro Series mount for 2-cycle engines, which is available in 0, 5, and 8-degree inclinations, provides a rigid structure to help keep vibration to a minimum without adding too much weight to your setup. The 4-cycle Easy Set system is one of the most popular mounts for the Briggs & Stratton 206 power plant. Multiple mounting holes provide the most adjustability depending on your chassis and seat placement. To ensure a tight fit to your chassis, our ORP wedge clamps get the job done, and they feature a number of design updates to provide a lower profile and lighter weight. The clamps are available from 28mm to 32mm in both standard and Euro style sizes. And now, Odenthal has also revolutionized the karting industry with its new Easy GP camera mounting system. Designed to mount anywhere on your chassis with 1 or 2 cameras, the ORP Easy GP camera mount is your solution to capture that onboard winning moment. Head to odenthalracing.com and find a dealer near you. Odenthal Racing Products, proudly made in the USA. The Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is where out-of-the-box ease and outstanding consistency meet to create legendary races. Briggs & Stratton's history of motorsports dates back to when the first engines came off the assembly line in the early 1900s. Their focus on the grassroots level continues to help build generations of racers. Since 2008, the Briggs & Stratton 206 has gained a following that has the engine powering the largest fields in North American karting today. From the club level track programs to traveling regional series and national events, Briggs & Stratton competition provides the most exciting racing in the sport. Engineered and hand-built exclusively for racing, every Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is power tested and serialized before it goes in the box. Karters can take that engine straight from the box to their kart and be on the podium at the end of race day. Be sure to follow Briggs & Stratton Racing on Facebook and through @RaceBriggs on Instagram. To learn more about the 206 engine or to find the North American dealer near you, head to BriggsRacing.com. Briggs & Stratton Racing, what powers you? Welcome back to the EKN Debrief, wrapping up our Superkarts USA SuperNats 27 coverage here with the 140th episode of the EKN Debrief. Into the Steel USA Race Report, marching our way through. Let's go right now to X30 Junior. The headline, Garzon becomes 4th junior driver to double up at SuperNationals.
Certainly he did. It was a fun story to kind of follow, and this one kind of fell in his lap, ironically, as the race went on in the last lap. And Rob, I'll let you talk about qualifying because I know this is one of your favorite things to happen in qualifying. No surprise, we saw Turner Brown lay down a 51.066. It was on his last lap that he did it, but the fast group did play a lot of games. And we know with Superkarts USA only allowing a 5-minute practice, maybe even 4-minute practice.
4 minutes.
4-minute qualifying session. You don't have a lot of time to lay down a lap, and it certainly costs a lot of drivers in that fast group, but promoted a lot of the drivers in the slow group to start inside the top 10.
Yeah, so for the slow group, Pedro Alves de Lima was able to go quick. Peyton Pham was up there as well, I think second or third in her group. Yeah. And indeed, what happens? So they come out, and man, it drives me nuts. They start playing their games. They start going super slow. And in fact, in my opinion, there should have been an impeding penalty because I know in talking to one of the drivers, I won't say who it is, they got checked up and actually got a pushback bumper. They were at full speed coming out of 16 down to the turn 1 when all those guys were doing their games where they're going super slow on the racetrack. At least one driver got a pushback and got impeded. So in my opinion, they probably should have dropped them. For everybody in that group should have got an impeding penalty. But the bottom line is that they messed around, really didn't get up to speed fast enough. David, in the end, they weren't able to lay the laps down. Again, with only 4 minutes, they lost a bit. I'm not sure that they all even got 4 laps in. I don't think they got their full 4 laps because they were messing around. Turner Brown able to come out, as you said, with a 51.066. He still was able to emerge with pole, but there were guys like Pedro Alves de Lima and Peyton Fay and Javier Chaparro who were right up in the top 5 because of all the messing around.
Yeah, and we just talked about a minimum speed on the pace lap. I would rather see these guys get penalized if they have a lap past a certain point. So 51 second lap. If your lap time is higher than 54, you're penalized. So I'll say this right now. That's what we do with the USF Pro Championships. Joel Miller, who is the race director for us, a former SuperNationals winner, we looked at that. They're doing it in the cars. The juniors drivers did it at VIR 2 years ago, and it was just ridiculous. Actually, it might have been this year. It was this year. Ridiculous. So what he did was he said, on the obviously your out lap, but your first lap at speed, it's got to be X. Like if it's slower than this, we're going to park you. So or you'll lose a fast lap. That's a 20-minute qualifying session. Yeah, I like that idea. Yeah, lose your fast lap. So something maybe some of the organizations might need to look at. So yeah, we ended up with Brown first, Pedro Alves de Lima in second. Alexander Vanchev in the fast group in third. Javier Chaparro, I think he was in the slow group. He might have been another one that kind of snuck in there. Yep. He ended up fourth. And then, as you said, Peyton Fan in the fast 5. So certainly an interesting start to this category. And we knew that certain players were going to be up front. One of them, Pro Tour champion Diego Ardiles, he ended up finished 7th in the session, 4/10 off Brown and for fast time in that session. But this allowed Brown to what we thought was going to be 3 straight heat wins because of the way they were gridded up and kind of the chaos that happened, because it took a while for Ardiles to get up to second in the opening heat race as he got around Vanchev. And then Fisher, who was back in 10th, worked his way up into the second spot in the second heat race ahead of Chaparro. But in the third heat race, it didn't seem like Brown had the pace in that session, or he just did not put his head down and get away quickly as he stayed within the group. And Ty Fisher came away with that heat race win. So a big momentum swing for the Canadian on the TV cart to put himself up on the front row alongside Brown for the start of the main event. Diego Ardiles starting third, Sebastian Garzon with three fifth place finishes, put himself on row 2, and then Alexander Vanchev starting in the 5th position. This was the race I thought we were going to see in KA, because it was a lot of elbows out, muscles up, just, defensive driving this way and that way. And a lot of it was Ardiles and Brown, because both of them wanted to lead and neither wanted the other one to lead. And so they were battling for the top spot aggressively throughout the race. And eventually Fisher was able to get his way into that battle and get into the lead at the white flag with a little bit of a bump and run on Ardiles going into turn 16. So he came to the white flag leading the way. Ardiles came right back, got to the inside at the turn 2, turn 3 kinks. Yeah. They were slamming, rubber marks or rubber smoke, side pod, all the way down into turn 4. As they did that, they pushed wide on the exit into turn 4. This allowed Garzon, who by that time got into the 3rd spot, pulled an over-under, came out of turn 5 with the lead, and that was it. It was just like, thank you for the victory.
Well, Garzon had he was back quite a ways, had to work his way up. I could not believe when that happened. He just all of a sudden the seas parted and he's got open racetrack coming out of 5. Yeah,
because again, the way they were shuffling through that coming to the white flag lap was just, a lot of guys going for a lot of positions. Garzon actually was in the 5th spot when they crossed the line at the white flag. But because of the way they were fighting through turn 1, through turn 2, turn 3, up to turn 4, he was able to knife his way, get into 3rd by that time. And then, as I said, boom, a gift. Christmas came early.
Yeah, 100%. I think I caught us all off guard to a certain extent. But, man, it was like, okay, well done. Dive your way through. It was just such a good run for him. And it even went from bad to worse, David, for Turner Brown. He ends up going into the wall as well and out of the race.
Yeah, as they made their way through turn 5, they were trying to go 3 wide, which is not a 3 wide spot in that section of the racetrack. He jumped the curb, got turned sideways, and went backwards into the wall. Obviously okay, but frustrating to end a potential try and repeat the victory. Tough way to end it in the wall in the last lap.
So Garzon gets away, as you had said, David, 1.2 seconds at the line. Diego Ardiles holding on for 2nd. Alexander Vanchev in 3rd. And how about Lillian Scarborough? They were also Performance Group Cosmic driver, David, up into the 4th position on the podium. The first female driver on the podium since 2019 when Chloe Chambers got it done in X30 Junior.
Yeah, thank you for pulling that up. Kyle Cuthbertson from Kart Chaser is doing a kind of a spreadsheet like mine, and he's showing me doing top 5s. I'm like, man, I need to do that. So I've already started the process, and that's one of them, because again, that was the hardest thing. Was I was thinking back to Sabre Cook back in 2012, or I think it was the year that she was on the podium there. So it's been a while.
Billy Musgrave won too.
What's that?
Her and Billy Musgrave.
Yeah, that was the year Billy Musgrave won. Yeah, exactly. So, it's been a while since we've had many female drivers there at the SuperNationals, but it had been a while. Still waiting for that first female SuperNationals winner. So that could be coming in the near future for sure. But yeah, great drive for her. It's I think she's found a home. She's kind of been there here and there, not quite podium or top 5 finisher throughout the season, throughout the last couple of years, but maybe the move to Rollison has certainly helped her do that.
Oh man, she was again like right in the hunt, as we had said. Enzo Vidmontian ended up rounding up the top 5. Enzo was part of the battle all weekend long. Hard Charger went to Gage Corn, started back in 43rd, able to work his way up into the 25th position.
Yeah, and then Ty Fisher again, phenomenal drive in KA. Nearly was a winner here in that he ended up finishing in 10th. A penalty, I think he crossed the line better than that. I think it was a pushback bumper, 6-second pushback bumper penalty that he would have been sixth, but it dropped him down to 10th. So
fast lap of the race for Ty.
Yeah, but a fast lap of the race for him. So again, and then you had Sarah Bradley 8th. So you had 2 female drivers in the top 10 for this category. I think there was a total of 4 female drivers in this, with Naomi, Jade Garcia, Peyton Fan. Oh, the other one, Bristol Bourneman as well.
And also Indigo Irwin.
Here we go.
Jay Irwin. So a number of female drivers in this one here for sure. Made the name. I like it. All right, let's have a look at the predictions. David, big one for you. Me and Nate, I got 2 points. Nate got 1. You were 6 here.
Yeah, not a big score for me. Only 6 points, but 2 in the top 10. I had Ardiles and Vid Montien. Same as you. You had 2 in the top 10 as well. But I did select the second place driver, which was, I'm trying to find my list here. Hold on. Diego Ardiles.
I thought I picked.
You had Ardiles winning. Yeah,
I know. I had Ardiles winning, but did I not pick? Did I not pick Garzone to even be in the top?
No. Well, that's the unique thing about Garzone. He did not run X30 all season. He was focused KA only. I think he might have ran X30 at the Florida or at the Winter Series, but USPKS SCUSA, he only ran KA. So this was one of his few starts in X30 and comes out and gets the victory. So the Garzone thing, that's why he wasn't on any of our lists, because he hadn't run X30 all season long. And you figured you had Ardiles, Wolney, Roberts, Fisher, Bradley, Vid Montien.
Yeah. You're right.
A lot of different names, a lot of big names in there that he was able to beat out. But you had Ardiles, Vid Montien, as did I, but I got Ardiles finishing second, so I got the bonus points there. Where Nate Dean did have Ardiles winning it, so he was the only driver in his top 5 to finish in the top 5.
Big year for Sebastian Garzone, won the Lucas Oil Formula Race Series as well. So solid year for Sebastian Garzone. All right, guys, when we get through here, I got another break. It's time to start rolling ourselves into the big dogs here. Next up, it's going to be Pro X30. Is IndyCar your dream? If it is, for 2024 and beyond, the path from karting to IndyCar has gotten even clearer. It's time to look into the new USF Juniors program and the Tatis JR23. As a first step of the USF Pro Championships presented by Continental Tires, the USF Junior Series will feature a 6-event, 13-race schedule to train racers for the move into the USF 2000 Championship presented by Continental Tires. 3 of the events in 2024 will run alongside IndyCar at Mid-Ohio, Road America, and Portland. The champion will win a scholarship worth over $263,000, and there's a total prize fund that will exceed $330,000. The series utilizes the state-of-the-art Tatis JR23 race car, which is a development version of the USF 22 used in USF 2000. It's the ideal entry point for career-minded karters moving into the car racing ladder. Safety is always front and center in the minds of the series promoters, and the new USF Juniors car also features the Halo, and races are supported by members of the AMR IndyCar safety team. If IndyCar is your goal, USF Juniors is the starting line. For more information, visit www.usfjuniors.com and follow USF Juniors on social media. Left without a mechanic or a crew to help you at the kart track or in the garage? Kartlift Kart Stands is your solution. The company, founded in 2003, is now owned and operated by Ted Fashing out of Cokato, Minnesota, and Ted has decades of knowledge and experience with fabrication. Kartlift takes pride in both our quality and our personal customer service that we provide on the phone or at the track. Kartlift Kart Stands can be found at racetracks all over the country. If you race alone, or if you're a parent with a cadet or junior driver, let our one-man winch lift make your race days easier. Position the hooks under the rear bumper, push the button, and your cart is raised into position, and you're ready to go. We also have Kartlift stackers for storing 2 carts at once, traditional kart stands, single and double upright storage stands, tire changers, and skid plate kits. Race teams and shops can contact us about our state-of-the-art chassis straightening table. If you have an idea for a custom stand, Cartlift can build it for you. All products from Cartlift are made in the USA. Cartlift cart stands are available at many kart shops around the country, or you can order online at cartlift.com. For more information, give us a call at 877-777-8020. That's 877-777-8020. Get a Cartlift today. Welcome back to this edition of the Debrief as we wrap up our Superkarts USA SuperNationals 27 coverage. Rob Howden alongside David Cole. This is the Stilo USA Race Report. Just Pro X30 and Pro Shifter still to come. Let's go to Pro X30 because this was a great one. Here's the headline. Turney completes the double, becomes 21st different winner.
Hate to say I told you so, but
You did. Blah, 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 blah.
no, it was.
Hey, listen. So did Turney.
So did Turney, exactly.
First guy I talked to who didn't like the
Monday.
Joe says I got a beef to pick. A beef. I'm like, I got a bone to pick with you. I'm like, okay, what? He said you didn't pick me to win. I go, I picked you to win KA 100. He goes, but not both. I'm like, come on, stop being so greedy. And he ends up going out and doing it. So, yeah, good for Joe.
Yeah, coming in, obviously last year winning the Superkarts USA Pro Tour, there was a lot of focus on him. Unfortunately, that injury at the World Championships in 2023 kept him from coming to Vegas. So there was a lot of attention around him. So it's very good to see the way he handles it. He doesn't show like it bothers him at all. Has a very cool, calm demeanor around the paddock. Obviously, was a little bit let loose at the end of Sunday, following the two victories. But there was definitely a lot of eyes on him. And, so when he didn't qualify P1, I don't think it was really a shock, but it was like, you got to remember, this is his first SuperNationals. He's never been here before.
Yep.
But it was also the first SuperNationals for Ruben Moya, the Pantano driver with Formula Direction Motorsports. He put down a monster lap of 49.598 to beat out Ryan Norberg, SuperNationals and now 6-time Pro Tour champion. Kai Hunter, the one driver who really beat Ryan Norberg this year at the Spring Nationals. Joe Turney, last year's SCUSA Pro Tour champion and runner-up at the World Championship. And then Stephen Miller, a great Fast Five qualifier.
Oh yeah, great weekend
on the Chad Dockin Racing Kart Republic. To again, a driver who's won at the SuperNationals as well too. So kind of a no surprise to see that. The Miller might have been a little bit of a surprise, but he's shown that he's super fast and can be fast at events like this. And he showed it in the heat races. He won 2 of the 6. In the 3 different rounds that they did have, along with Ryan Norberg winning 2 as well. So you had Miller with 2, Norberg with 2, Moya winning only 1, and then Kai Hunter coming through to pick up the win in the last heat race of the event for the category. That put Miller and Norberg on the front row. So a senior rookie on the front row for Super Sunday alongside Ryan Norberg.
Right.
Kai Hunter right behind him in 3rd. Ruben Moya, again, a Miami international final specialist, sitting there in 4th, and then the world runner-up Joe Turney starting from P5. So an amazing top 5, and then you had all the other drivers who tried to put themselves into the mix, certainly in the main event, the 25 lapper, because it was a lot of drivers trying to get in that. You had Jesus Vasquez Jr., he had Austin Garrison, Hayden Jones, ADT, Aiden Ingrata, a lot of drivers all trying to get into that run at the front group. So there was a lot of jostling, a lot of shuffling. I think the interesting thing, and I know you got it down here, David, was the fact that Moya went defensive super early. That was before the halfway point.
That was a big one for me.
Because the turn 4 section of the racetrack, that was the passing opportunity for this category. Maybe a little bit into 1, but because I think it was such a fast turn for the single speed, unless you had a massive draft, you weren't, as we saw, we'll talk about in Pro Shifter, it wasn't a great opportunity to really make a deep move.
Yeah, it wasn't a super hard braking corner.
Right. So especially for the single speed. So that's where I think turn 4, because it was a deep braking zone for them. That was where, if you ran a defensive line, you could somewhat carry it through the rest of the racetrack.
Yeah.
So I think that turn was very key, and that's where he was defensive. Ironically, that's where I was taking pictures, and that's where I saw it lap after lap after lap. Eventually, Turney was the driver on the move, getting his way up into the second spot and kind of figuring out Moya. I don't think they've ever really raced each other, so I think it was kind of Joe kind of sat back, was kind of learning, okay, what's he doing? Where am I better? Where's he better? It wasn't until lap 16 that Turney pulled the trigger and was able to get by him. And that was the winning move, because after that, they kind of battled behind Turney for the second spot, gave him a little bit of a gap. And then there was a pack of 4 that kind of ran together. It was Turney, Moya, Norberg, and Miller. And that's kind of how they ran for the remainder of the race. It didn't seem, and Turney didn't really defend. He just kind of ran his line.
Yep.
It didn't seem like Moya had enough to get by him, because they had a little bit of a gap. I think late in the last couple of laps, Turney kind of ran a narrower line, more of a shifter line in some of the corners and it did look like in this group of 4, Rob, that some were better at this corner. Another driver was better at this spot. They all kind of had good moments on a lap, but it was a little difficult to pass the other guy without really forcing the issue.
Yeah, Turney ends up coming away with the big victory, backing it up, the K100 senior win. Lots of stuff happened, though, David, to kind of shake up the final running order as well, right? Couple of penalties for drivers inside the top 5.
Yeah, because Moya actually crossed the line in the second spot, but was given a 3-position penalty for blocking. So that would have put him back to 4th. It would have moved Miller up into 3rd, but Miller got a pushback bumper penalty. So it moved Norberg to 2nd, Moya to 3rd, Miller to 4th, because they had such a big gap on the second pack that was racing for 5th, which ended up being Austin Garrison winning that spot. And I think Garrison was another guy. He had the pace to be up there with these guys. He just wasn't able to. Things just didn't work out in his favor. He was, I think, up to 3rd at one point, but just I'm looking at that. Yeah, was up to 3rd early. Was 3rd at lap 10. Yep. Just did not get the luck, because by that time, that's when Moya was doing his defensive moves. And then so everybody's trying the outside-inside move. Garrison had to check up a couple of times to not put himself in the wall as guys were kind of making bold moves. And again, it's just, one of those things, SuperNationals is so difficult to be at the right spot at the right time, like we did see with Sebastian Garzone and Next 30 Junior, where Garrison just didn't quite have that luck on his side.
Great to see the emotion out of Joe Turney when he won as well. You could tell how much winning this race means to him, and of course, winning over here in the U.S. as an international driver. He was absolutely elated coming into the scales with that victory. Turney, Norberg, Moya, Miller, and Garrison, the final tally for the top 5. Jaden Thean on the Sodi kart was the hard charger, up 24 spots. Started 38th, got himself all the way up into the top 15, ended up finishing in the 14th position. And David, in the predictions, you and Nate end up coming away with 8. I had 3 drivers in the top 5, but just nobody in the right position.
Yeah, we all had 3 drivers in the top 5, and they were all the same drivers, Turney, Norberg, and Garrison. So we were pretty consistent on that. Fortunately for me and Nate, we were able to pick the correct winner.
Yeah.
So we got the bonus points for that. So yeah, me and Nate tied on this one, as we had pretty much matching results. He had Norberg in 3rd. I had Norberg in 3rd. I had Garrison in 4th. He had Garrison in 4th. So a very similar top 5 for us.
Exactly that. So, folks, another break. That's Pro X30. When we get back, Pro Shifter on the Stilo USA Race Report. In this day and age, if you need something for your karting program, it's just one mouse click away. One of the leading online stores in the sport of karting is tsracing.com. The Florida-based company has been serving the karting community for decades. TS Racing is one of the few kart shops with technical expertise in all divisions of karting. TS Racing's online superstore features a full range of the products you need to start karting today, or to restock your garage or trailer for the racing season. TS Racing is also the official distributor for Vega tires. For dirt, road racing, sprint, and the most popular 4-cycle tire with Cup Karts North America, a wide range of Vega compounds and sizes are available for your karting needs. Head over to tsracing.com today or call 352-793-9600 to learn more about the Vega tire brand or the many products that they have at TS Racing. Take advantage of the deals available through RTX USA Group, an official distributor for Rotax karting products in the United States. RTX USA Group provides Rotax engines, Mojo tires, and XPS products to dealers and competitors in the southern U.S. states, from their base in Florida all the way to California. Take advantage of their engine purchase offer, which gives you 2 sets of Mojo D5 tires when you purchase a Rotax Max Evo or the Rotax DD2 Max Evo. For those looking to add a Rotax Micro Max Evo MY20 or a Rotax Mini Max Evo MY-I20 to their lineup, those customers will be provided with 2 sets of Mojo D2 tires. Customers who purchase a Rotax Junior Max Evo won't be left out, also receiving 2 sets of Mojo D2 tires. RTX is also introducing the new Mojo Club, with opportunities to save on Mojo tires by bundling them together. Learn more about becoming a dealer or joining the Mojo Club by visiting rtxkarting.com today. Getting close to wrapping things up for this edition of the Debrief, wrapping up our Superkarts USA SuperNationals coverage for 2024. Again, into the Stilo USA Race Report final category. We'll do one more break and come back and wrap things up. Pro Shifter. What a race for sure. A one for the ages, 100%. Here's the headline. Vasile wins in dramatic fashion to give Italkart its first headline victory.
You said it, Rob. I mean, this was one for the ages. Wow. This was a crazy 25-lap race. It's something will go down as probably one of the best ones we've seen at the SuperNationals for sure. The week started looking like it was going to be Senna. It was Senna Van Waltstein, the driver for Sodi, that was quickest in qualifying at 47.036 to put him on the pole position, edging out Marcus Kajak by 47 thousandths of a second. They were essentially the top 2 drivers over Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We saw Senna win the opening heat race, Kajak win his opening heat race. Round 2, same thing, Senna, Kajak. Then we got to see the 2 go head to head in the 3rd and final heat round. Senna won that one over Kajak with Emilian Denner, who we talked about there in the paddock pass, coming in to sub for the world champion. Flew in Wednesday night, got to the racetrack Thursday morning. So he got his 7 laps of practice, or 7 minutes, 12 minutes of practice, and then qualify. And he qualified 12th overall with just seeing the racetrack. So very similar to what we saw with Laurentiu Mardan and K.A. Masser. Emilian Denner making his second SuperNational start, did the same thing, qualifying 12th overall. And he was the driver that was making the move over and over throughout the heat races. Ended up winning the C versus D heat race to help him move up the grid even further, as he would start on the outside of the second row, because we all, of course, saw Senna and Kajak on the outside of the or on the front row. On the inside of the second row, Christian Brutuka, the PSL Barrel Art driver, the reigning KZ2 world champion, second, and 5th in his heat races after qualifying 3rd overall. So not a bad start for him. I thought he was going to be one of the factors for sure as well going in. So again, Denner starting 4th, and then David Trefilov starting in the 5th position. So this one started with a hole shot because Kajak got it. It looked like Senna tried to move the outside, go to the outside from his inside starting position. I didn't see any of the hole shots he did earlier in the week, Rob, but this one just didn't seem like he had it.
No,
and
he just,
Kajak just timed it perfectly.
Yeah, the outside of the front row, I mean, a little bit cleaner, right? We know that. A little more rubber. It's kind of the turn-in point. So the start line was quite a ways down. But
Yeah, but
Kajak,
Senna had 3 starts and
100%.
3 hole
Yes,
shots. So
no
it just
doubt.
seemed like this one didn't
Yep.
seem to be the same as what he had before.
Didn't quite nail it. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, so Kajak got the whole shot and bolted away. I got to say it almost grew to probably a 2-second lead over Senna and Denner, who were sitting back there fighting for second. But the show, Rob, and that's probably because I wasn't paying attention to it till I got up top and heard you guys screaming about it. But the show was Morgado. Matheus Morgado.
Yeah, Matheus Morgado was on the move. Started back in the 9th position, just kept moving his way forward. That thing was an absolute rocket. And talk about a cart that's set up perfect. The Burrell Art, the PSL driver, it just kept coming in and kept coming in. He was just so much faster than everybody. David, and eventually, it took him a while, but he got into second by lap 17, and this is kind of what set up the excitement for the climax of the race.
Yeah, because by that time I'd gotten up to the tower thinking, okay, I got my photo, I'm good to go. I was trying to sort out some other situations for us, and then I see you guys yelling that Morgado's there. Yeah, Morgado's there.
And remember, 25 lap race. So a 20 lapper, he wouldn't have caught him, but the 25 laps, like I said, he got into second by lap 17, started to pull away. He still had 8 laps to get the job done. And really, it took him only, a handful of laps before he essentially reeled in Kajak.
Yeah, and again, anytime you have the rabbit in front of you, you got the fastest cart on the racetrack because that's exactly what Morgado had. A 47.0 was his quick time. So he had at least a 10th or 2 nearly every lap and was able to run down Kajak, basically get on his bumper by lap 22. And by that time, as he got there, he didn't wait. He made the move. And this was the defining moment of this race for sure. As they were starting lap 23, Morgado got a run down the straightaway into turn 1. It was a late move to the inside, not quite there. Obviously didn't pull out on the draft. Yeah. But as they were under braking, made the move inside.
A lunge, if you will.
It was a lunge because he only got to about the halfway point of the side pod.
Yeah.
For me, that's what I saw.
And he had to pinch it down then, right?
Pinched it down. Kajak saw him, gave him a little bit of room, but not much. Morgado essentially jumped the curb, which, as we talked about in our track walk, were very tall, not short in terms of height. No. So anytime you hit those, you knew you were going to get air. That's exactly what happened. Morgado jumped it, got air, pushed both of them off into the wall and out of the race, fighting for the win with 2 laps to go.
Barriers flying, announcers screaming. I actually think I blew up. I think I said it was Truffaloff, not Kajak during that because I was so excited about it. But it just blew the race wide open, David. That was the crazy thing. All of a sudden, you got Vasile back in the fight, Denner back in the fight. All these guys that were essentially batting for 3rd, 4th, or 5th, all of a sudden were racing for the win.
They were, and ironic part about it is Vasile was passing Denner for the 3rd spot at the same or just after the incident. So got around Vasile, which now was the lead, or around Denner, which was now for the lead. So came to essentially a last lap battle between Vasile and Denner fighting for the win. I think it was I'm trying to remember how this last lap unfolded.
If I'm not mistaken, Vasile was able to get through, and then Denner had to. All of a sudden, he had a fight. It wasn't just him, right? So Vasile was able to pull away because Pedro Hiltbrand kind of arrived on the scene as well.
Well, Vasile was leading, led on lap 23, took the white flag as a leader, and they came around the last lap, and that's I think when Hiltbrand got into the mix because I think Denner was trying to make a move on Vasile. Vasile went defensive, was able to hold the inside, or one or the other. I can't remember exactly how it happened. I thought there was an over under. It might have been Hiltbrand on Denner that moved him into the 2nd spot, but I know Denner and Vasile were fighting for the lead coming into turn 4, and there was an over under, and then Hiltbrand took advantage of it and moved himself into 2nd as they got through turn 5. And that was essentially the winning move because Hildebrand wasn't able to attack Vasily enough through that last second half of the lap. And again, an amazing turn how things unfolded as Vasily becomes a 2-time winner in Vegas this year, winning the Rock Cup or the Rock Vegas event as well too.
Yeah, also won at the Challenge of the Americas earlier in the year.
And won at Challenge of the Americas earlier in the year. So all 3 times he's been in the USA, he's won. And I don't think we
I was just going to say this, and again, what an end. Because remember, Pro Shifter was the last race of the day. All the excitement that rolled into everything, right? We kind of got off schedule. We got late, so the lights were on. It was, David, everything you would have wanted to finish off a SuperNationals like this. The battle at the very end. The dramatic victory for Vasily, huge for Italkart, as we know. They'd won before, right? You saw victories for Michael Valiente. I think SuperNats 2, 3, and 4. He won
1, 2, and 3.
I thought it was 2, 3, and 4. Was it 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah,
maybe you're right. Okay, so the first couple winning in the Formula C category, right?
Yes, Formula C.
Did Jurka win as well?
Jurka won the ICC category in 2002. So
at the Rio,
you consider those the same category. So they had all 4 wins in that category. They do have a win by David Jurka and Tag Senior as well in 2005, and a couple other winners. I know they had a Tag Junior winner as well too. What
about I think Andre De Castro was on in the Tag Senior class when he beat Sarah.
Correct. He was on Andre De Castro as well in 2010.
There you go. But again, headline victory, Pro Shifter for Italkart and Italian Motors. Shout out to them. Great job for Vasily to be able to come away with the win. Dave, a lot of great things. He gets the victory. Hiltbrand second, Denner in third. That was the battle. Senna Van Wolstein kind of fell back, but ended up finishing in fourth. And what a drive for AJ Myers. You think about the fact that in that one of his heat races, he ends up with a broken the gear
sprocket.
Was it the sprocket or was it the shifter?
No, it was sprocket.
Oh, I was sure it was the shifter.
No, it was sprocket. Yep.
Okay.
I talked to him.
Oh, okay, cool. On the video, you can see him playing with the shifter as well. It wasn't working. Anyways, he drives back to a top 5 finish. Amazing run for AJ, and he was actually pretty happy with that run coming back.
Yeah, started 20th, got himself all the way up to 5th. And yeah, again, obviously gained a couple positions there with that fight for the win there with a couple laps to go. But I mean, he had the pace. He ran a 47.2. And again, Vasily a 47.1, as we talked about. Morgado at 47.0 was the quickest. So again, you don't know what would have happened. Again, that the tough mechanical. It just seems to be the luck for AJ Myers, but again, landed on the podium for, I'm gonna double check this, but I want to say 7 times in this category that he's been on the podium.
The funny thing, when I was going back and looking through the results when we were trying to find, which females were on the podium, I went back to one of his, he was on the podium, I think, in a junior race too, a number of years ago, Tag Junior, I think. I went well back. It was,
you go S5. So that was his first podium in 2009.
S5. There you go.
And then S2 in 2013. His most notable one was 2014 in the KZ category, where he placed 5th. Was second in S1 in 2016, second in 2018, 5th in 2021, and then 4th in 2023.
Wow.
Where again, he had to come back from a DNF in one of the heat races as well too. So it's not something he's unfamiliar with. Robert Bedozzo did the same thing in Master Shifter, nearly got up to the podium, a top 10 finish for him after starting dead last in all the heat races. So again, just a great drive for AJ Meyer. Again, considered as one of the top shifter drivers in North America for sure.
Yeah, 100% on that. So hard charger, let's not leave him out. Sam Dicker up 24 spots, started 34th, able to work his way into the top 10. Great job for Sam to get into that top 10 result in an unbelievably tough field. Predictions wise, we weren't superstars on this one here. You and I, David, ended up with 2. Obviously, none of us were going to pick Emilian Denner because he wasn't on the entry list. But a lot of shaking up for sure that kind of changed things around. The funny thing is, even the contact between Hijack and Morgado, that didn't affect me at all because I didn't pick either of those guys to be in the top 5.
Neither of us had Hijack and Morgado. So, no, Nate did. Sorry, I apologize. Nate had Morgado finishing second. with Giuseppe Palumbo in the winning spot. So that didn't work out well for him. Kremers, who ended up finishing 9th, was in Nate's list. Victor Gustafson.
I picked him to win, Kremers, and he just wasn't there.
You picked him to win. You picked Matteo Vajano, who was in a opening lap skirmish.
Yep.
So he was spun around backwards, so that took him out. You had Kyle Wick. He was also in a turn 1 incident as well, too, so that took him out of the running. It's just a lot of heavy hitters had a lot of issues in this main event on Super Sunday. So, you had Hildebrand and Myers in your top 5. So you had the most in terms of top 5 drivers in the top 5. I only had Myers, but I had him finishing 5th.
So you had Myers and you had him in the right spot.
I had him in the right spot, so I did get the bonus points. But I give you the win because, again, you had 2 in the top 5.
I appreciate that, Dave. You're so generous.
Hildebrand was the only driver for Nate Dean. He had him finishing in the 5th spot, so he only got the 1 point there. But, so it's strange you look at it. So you had the international drivers take the top 4. Then you had USA, International, in 6th with Bertucca, who I did have in my top 5.
You did.
Didn't quite make it. I wish he would have, but damn you, AJ Myers, you beat him. Billy Musgrave almost there in the top 5. He finished in 7th, so USA. And then a great drive for Michael Avancino. Again, a very AJ Myers-esque drive because this is his first SuperNationals. So to finish 8th against some of the world's best, a great drive for the Ron White Racing CRG driver to finish 8th ahead of a former world champion, Martin Kremers, in 9th. And then, as you said, Sam Dicker, the Aussie, in the 10th spot. So a wide range of drivers, manufacturers, all in the top 10 for this category.
Yeah, I'm glad you went from 6 to 10 as well, because Avancino definitely deserves a shout out there. Great year for Michael. And again, you look at the drivers around him, how many times they've won world championships. They've won, like a Billy Musgrave. He literally finishes only a half a second behind Musgrave on the track. And Musgrave's, of course, a 5-time winner now. Was a 4-time coming in, ends up being a 5-time. So absolutely impressive for Michael Avancino. Let's go to our final break. When we get back, we'll look at the Constructors' Championship. We'll finish up with the predictions and talk about how David ended up coming away with the big win. And then we'll wrap things up. And, of course, at the end, the EKN Trackside Live Race Calendar. It all started in my parents' garage. That's the foundation for MPG Motorsports, which grew from a small home garage in Indiana into one of the top race teams and kart shops in the industry. A true passion for motorsports runs deep in the DNA of MPG, which has developed strong connections within karting. Now based at the Whiteland Raceway Park in central Indiana, MPG Motorsports offers a wide range of opportunities through its race team while providing a full-service kart shop as an official dealer for the Kart Republic brand. The MPG Motorsports race team is led by ownership partner and karting champion Chase Jones and provides full trackside service and driver development. Be part of the MPG program at the USPKS, Stars Championship Series, and Route 66 Sprint Series events with arrive and drive opportunities available at those programs, as well as at the Whiteland Club races this season. A new 3,500 square foot shop is now open at the Whiteland Raceway Park in Whiteland, Indiana, and is the new home of MPG Motorsports. This new headquarters will provide local and regional racers with a full-service race shop that provides a wide range of parts and supplies to racers, including the full chassis line of the Kart Republic brand. For more, head to mpg-motorsports.com and follow us on social media. Let MPG Motorsports take your motorsports career in the direction of your choice. Made in the USA. It's not just a statement, it's the mission at Factory Karts of America. Led by 4-time SuperNats champion Billy Musgrave, Factory Karts manufactures their frames completely in-house at the Riverside, California facility. Built and designed from the ground up specifically for the American karting market, Factory Karts brings new innovations and solutions that are long overdue. Factory Karts bring together the highest quality materials to produce a high-performance, long-lasting kart that has been designed and perfected from 3 years of development, with a focus for a big push across North America in 2023. No other karting manufacturer stands behind its product like Factory Karts does, providing a 2-year warranty on all their frames. Do you remember when American Made meant innovative, original, stronger, faster, and just plain better? Well, American Made is back. Contact Factory Carts today to join the American Made movement. Learn more by visiting factorycarts.com or email Billy anytime at info@factorycarts.com. All right, we're back to wrap up this edition of the Debrief, wrapping up our Superkarts USA SuperNats 27 coverage. Again, it's been a month of content that David and Nate have been banging out. Just an absolute, for me, proud of the work that they've done, all the content they were able to push out there. You know, it's a good 1-2 punch. Kart Chaser, of course, did a great job with the coverage. All the insight that came from our crew here at ekartingnews.com. We hope you guys all enjoyed the coverage. David, let's have a look at the Constructors Championship. Overall, 6 different brands splitting the 9 wins.
Yeah, Attorney picking up 2 wins certainly helped Kart Republic, along with the Benji Fernandez victory. So 3 for Kart Republic to lead the way. Tony Kart picking up 2 wins thanks to Sebastian Garzone, the double week in Vegas, double up week in Vegas for him and Tony Kart. So they were second on the list. And then 4 manufacturers with 1 win, including Factory Kart, Sodi Kart, Ital Kart, and Cosmic.
Into the predictions, again, we talked about the fact that in yesterday, after the 4 classes, David had a lead of 9. He had 35 points. I had 26. Nate had 14. All told, from the final 5, David was up by 13, 34 for him, 21 for me. Nate ended up with 18. David, of course, the managing editor for 20 years, you would expect that he, seeing as he focuses on the sport 100%, would come away with a victory. 22 points. David, 69 points. Pretty impressive all told. You were able to rock it this year.
Yeah, there were a couple misses, but I'm satisfied with the way things shook out. Mini was probably my worst. I wish I could have done better to improve my score, but anytime you win is a good day. So a good day in the championship chase of continuing this run that I'm on.
Well, listen,
I got to thank my sponsors: Gatorade, McDonald's hash browns, Cheerios.
What else? What was it? Papa John's pizza you're having there midday?
Papa John's pizza. Any other food that I could digest during the week because I was super hungry.
Big shout out to the good folks at In-N-Out Burger on what road was it on again?
I was getting my main sponsor. Road? Yeah, my main sponsor, In-N-Out Burger, for fueling my brain throughout the SuperNationals.
Listen, let's be real. 3 big ones for you. You killed it in Master Shifter. You killed it in K100 Master as well. Pretty solid, right? Yeah, and then of course 11 points in Micro as well.
It's not hard to guess what the old guys are going to do, right? There's no surprises there. The fast guys are going to be fast guys. That's why I'm kind of frustrated with where my Pro Shifter and Pro X30 were, because they should have been double digits as well too. But sometimes my Micro Swift pulled out for me. I did very well there.
In Pro Shifter, we didn't know Denner. Obviously, didn't know Denner. We weren't leaning into Sena Van Walstein either for him to be that good in his first SuperNats.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of reasoning behind, I think, our picks in Pro, even though they didn't come out with any results. We had reasons for our picks.
Yeah. I went Victor Gustafson instead of Senna, so that was a difference. I could, if I would have went Senna, that certainly would have helped me.
And listen, Krevers finished second 4 times.
He did, yes.
I like, and then jumping behind the wheel of the RPG machine that Formal won with last year. I'm kind of leaning, okay, I got this, but no, didn't play it this time around.
No, it didn't play out. He had that issue he had to start back in 30th. Yeah. So that was probably, he had a heat. I forgot what it was. Oh, too wide.
Light. Was he late?
No, I thought it was too wide.
Oh, too wide width. That's right.
Width wide. So that hurt him overall, because he did show well in the heat races. He had finishes a 7th and 8th, so he was there. It's tough. Qualified 14th overall. Tough to come from 30th. But to get the top 10, that's pretty solid.
We obviously did the full wrap-up yesterday as well. We'll touch on it very briefly. David, you and I, we already talked about the fact that it was the 3rd largest SuperNationals in history, the 27 runnings of it, the largest with 9 classes. And indeed, if you look at the average entry per class, the biggest SuperNationals by far. So with only the 9 categories going 550. One of the things we'll talk briefly about, a lot of red flags. And it does happen at the SuperNats. It does happen at a temporary street circuit. But it seemed like there was a lot of red flags, a lot of action, a lot of drivers. There were areas where guys got aggressive. And when they got aggressive, got up on the curbs, got into guys, you ended up being in the barriers afterwards.
Yeah. And again, most of the red flags were early part of the event.
Yep.
In practice and the first couple of heat races. And again, you look at it in practice, guys are pushing the limits, trying to get as close to the barrier as possible. And then you getting into the heat or the racing aspect, and they're giving themselves at least a foot off the wall. So it's strange to kind of watch that progression during the week. But again, that's part of temporary racing, especially when you have 550 entries on a racetrack. You're going to have incidents, so it's going to happen.
And let me throw this out there: of the red flags, only one driver didn't continue, and that was the vicious hit for Dan Mitchell, the VRD racing owner from the USF Pro Championships. He hit really hard coming out of 11, essentially knocked himself out, and knocked some teeth out as well. Otherwise, everybody else came back. There was a bunch of incidents where drivers came back. Lawrence Perriman was able to tough it in after his leg being so sore. We saw DeLongchamp, I think, wrecked twice, but was able to come back. So guys were able to come back after these red flags.
Yeah, that's always the positive. That's what we want to see when we do have the red flags. And again, a lot of them, like we said in yesterday's podcast, a lot of them were precautionary to make sure the driver is okay. Yeah. Because again, you just don't quite know. And plus, with it being a temporary circuit, if you can't get the driver off the racetrack quickly, you got to throw red.
Dave, you got segments of speed here. Give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, because it's, now that we've gone over all 9 categories, it's very interesting to see how drivers progress, because you had some drivers that were really good in setting a fast time. But then you had your drivers who were really good across the heat races. They were able to manage, kind of like a game manager, where they able to keep people behind them or stay up front, not getting into trouble. And then you had the Super Sunday performances where something clicked. You look at the Morgado, even though he didn't come up winning, like the speed he had to come up and win, the luck that Garzone had in X30 Junior, and even in KA, winning in KA Junior, just they had the Super Sunday speed. So it's funny to watch how there's different segments throughout this event, and that's something that you kind of have to keep in your mind, because you can be really good throughout practice and qualifying, but if you can't get through the heat races, it doesn't matter.
You need to progress throughout the entire race.
And if you don't get through the heat races, it's not going to matter on Super Sunday. You could be the quickest guy, like we saw, and you still got to get through it and get through to the checkered flag. And
let's put it this way. If you get yourself in trouble in Super Sunday and you're starting deep in the field, hard chargers don't win.
They might get you mentioned, but they don't win. No.
You get a mention. You may get in the top 10, but hard chargers don't win, right? Well, you don't want to be that far back.
I mean, there was one, Rob. We always have to bring this up.
Do it.
Because it's in the notes.
Marco
Mastronzi coming from 24th in the field in 2014 to win Tag Senior. An amazing drive, but he's really the only one that kind of stands out. There's a couple. Bonner Moulton actually came from 23rd in 2004 to win G1. So I'm going to have to go back and double check that stat.
Yeah, we but for the most part, hard chargers don't win. Let's wrap it up.
No,
let's say,
correct.
Okay, final wrap-up segment. A historic Super Sunday, David. There was a bunch of stuff that happened. I'll kick it off first. You can follow in. Our first ever 5-time winner. 4 times. It feels like at the Indy 500. You know what I mean? Where you had the 4-time winners. First ever 5-time winner, Billy Musgrave, ends up scoring the win in Master Shifter. It's a full handful of wins for him.
It's a 5, yeah.
It's a 5-time. Yeah, impressive for Billy Musgrave for sure.
It's interesting. Yeah, just this. You're right. It's very Indianapolis-esque. I know we're only at 27 races, but this event's going to keep going and going, and we're going to see more and more history like this made. And he certainly had a good run from 2017 to 2019 to pick up all those victories. But there's certainly more on the horizon with him in the Masters class now.
I agree. How about
that's the crazy part?
Dave, listen, I'll let you roll into this, because at one point, being able to win 2 races on a weekend was unbelievable, right? It's only a couple of guys have done it. Well, man, we kind of rocked things up this past year.
Well, it was impossible because there weren't two categories
True.
for each age group. Masters was more realistic, but then when we brought in, the KA junior category back in 2018, now we had two junior categories back again because Connor De Felipe was the original, the only one to be able to win two classes in the same SuperNationals, and was able to do that back in, I believe it was 2004.
Yeah, at Sam Boyd Stadium, ADCC Junior and JICA.
It was 2006. That was the year. So, it was, So to see that now happen, Fletcher doing it in, what year was that? 2021?
Yes, 2021.
I remember. Sorry. Yep. So within the last four editions of the SuperNationals, we've seen three junior drivers double up.
That's massive, right? Yeah,
it's massive. It's crazy. So it's not the norm. Let's just say that right now. This can't be the norm because there's so many good drivers out there. Again, I think Garzón just got the most amazing Christmas present in that X30 race, but it's not the norm. I don't think we're going to continue to see that, although it could possibly happen.
So he ends up being the fourth driver to double. Our first ever double senior winner with Joe Turney winning both the KA 100 senior and X30 Pro X30 categories for him as well. You think about how impressive that is, considering the fact, David, we've had 21 different winners in the Pro X30 category. Amazing.
Yeah, 21 different winners in that. We have, Turney becomes the sixth different winner in KA senior. So again, we've seen different winners in the different categories. If Turney comes back, he certainly is going to be a favorite to double up, but there's still Donovan Bonilla if he comes back next year, Ryan Norberg to come back next year. And Zachary Clayman DeMello was in the field this year. There are drivers that are going to have that opportunity to become the first two-time winner in X30 Pro.
Now, can I do a little opinion thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
I know we're almost done with the show.
No, take whatever you want.
Personally, I like that SCUSA doesn't allow pro drivers to run in the KA 100 senior class. I wish they would do it in Supernats as well.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, again, with the open part of it, it's tough. Well, it's no different than pro and master. Like if you're running pro shifter, you should.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way with that as well.
Master shifter
pick
as
one
well,
shifter class,
especially because they didn't open up master shifter. So there were probably 5 guys at home who could have ran master shifter that didn't, just because they didn't get their entry in on early enough. My
position is you can't run both. Pick one. And again,
I think
driver run Pro X30. What's that?
But we should do that with junior as well too, though. That's
we don't really have we don't have a separation otherwise. It's just that we don't do that with junior. Junior's two categories, right? There's no pro attached to something in junior. Yeah. There's not a pro junior. That's an amateur junior. That's my thought. Anyways, I digress. Let's jump into the EKN Trackside Live race calendar. Wrap this thing up today. The calendar presented by Sodi Racing USA. What brand is known around the world for its innovation and success? It is Superkarts. The Sodi brand returned in full force during the 2023 season, thanks to the new exclusive importer, the karting distribution, led by industry veteran Terry Germanovich. The French manufacturer Superkarts is a leader within the karting industry, offering a wide range of products and services. Visit Sodi-Racing-USA.com to learn more about the Superkarts chassis, or call 954-634-5111 to become part of the Sodi Racing USA network today. Superkarts, the world leader in the karting industry. All right, David, let's wrap things up, because not only does it really wrap up the SuperNationals coverage, it actually wraps up our EKN Trackside coverage for 2024. We're done. I'm going to the PRI show in a few weeks. That'll be it. Otherwise, you and I won't be at a racetrack until January 10th, 11th, and 12th, and we head down to Orlando Kart Center in Orlando, Florida, for the opening rounds of this next year's 2025 SCUSA Winter Series.
Yeah, SCUSA Winter Series going to the Orlando Kart Center for the first time. We talked about it yesterday. 2018, they did go to 2 different facilities. Yeah. They went to Homestead and Ocala. Unfortunately, Ocala no longer there. Orlando Kart Center now the home of the SCUSA Winter Series, as it'll host both events, the first in January and the second in February.
That's going to be the home for karting in January, February. Because there's going to be there's 6 races, right, in a row.
Yeah, you have the Florida Winter Tour, you have the Rotax Winter Trophy, all happening in January and February.
February. Speaking of January and February, at the end, January 31st to February the 2nd, We'll be back out once again. Excited to get for another year with the challenge of the Americas, getting out there with Andy Statesman and the family. We'll be back at Musselman Honda Circuit in Tucson, Arizona. That program, obviously, big developments from 3 races to 4. Primarily, we always touted it as the West Coast Winter Series. It's now more of the West Coast National Series. I think it goes all the way into June. So 4 races. It's going to be a great opportunity for West Coast teams that don't want to travel all the way east to be able to focus on that, David. We'll be trackside once again when the challenge kicks off in Tucson.
Yeah, excited to see the new Shingo kart tires in operation, see how they perform compared to the other brands that the series has utilized over the last couple of years, because Tucson has been the home of the challenge to start the year off. So hope for great warm temperatures, no wind, hopefully, and great racing as we always see with the challenge.
Such a good racetrack, man. Tucson is one of the best racetracks in the country. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That wraps up 2024 for our EKN Trackside Live coverage. Obviously, David, Nate, and Mattia doing a tremendous job. We talked about Mattia and Nate and the contributions they had to our coverage of the SuperNationals. David, I cannot speak more about the work you did. Busting your butt all weekend long, all week long, all month long, getting the coverage done, all the previews, everything that happened. Again, congratulations on 20 years as well. I can't thank you enough for the loyalty and just for the dedication to the sport and to ekartingnews.com.
Yeah, it's been a wild 20 years to see where I was and to see where I am now. It's yeah, I'm all grows up.
You're all grown up. You're all grows up. A little grayer, Dave. Get a little salt and pep going there.
Really, you got to keep bringing that up. You can
call
say
me old,
just tell me I'm fat
all the time.
Just tell me I'm fat. Don't tell me I'm gray.
All right. Well, the salt and pep's looking good on you, buddy. Looking good. Again, folks, that wraps things up. Thank you so much, of course, to everybody who followed along with our coverage. A lot of great messages getting sent to us and comments online. So we appreciate all of that. And again, this kind of wraps up our coverage. As I said, also wraps up this edition of the Debrief, which is brought to you by Parallel USA. We are done for 2024. Focus forward, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back at the SCUSA Winter Series in January. Full coverage coming all year long. 2025. David starts his 21st year with EKN. I roll into what I think will be 31 years as a journalist for me. So looking forward to getting trackside once again. Thank you so much for tuning in. On behalf of David Cole, my name is Rob Howden. Bye for now.